See.
Quote, say goodbye to your kids. It's chilling. And those are the alleged words a North Dakota mom said to her husband before she allegedly barricaded herself inside her home and proceeded to kill her children.
Say goodbye to your kids. Those words are now part of a court record. Not a threat made in a movie, not a line from a crime drama. A 22-year-old mother spoke those words to her husband while holding their 5-month-old daughter in one arm and a pistol in the other. Before we go deeper into what the documents actually show, make sure you're subscribed to True Crime Court, because we don't just cover the story, we follow the evidence.
We can share that the 5-month-old and the 3-year-old have passed away. The 1-year-old is still being treated at a local hospital.
That was Thursday night, August 6th. By the time police arrived at the home in Mandan, North Dakota, the scene was already in motion. The father and grandmother were frantic in the front yard. Officers could hear assault happening inside. They forced the door open. What they found would become the subject of a probable cause affidavit that is, in the words of one investigator, really hard to read.
Now here's what the probable cause affidavit says happened next. Quote, a patrol officer entered the residence to find the children's mother, Kaylee Hehheart, holding a knife to her throat. Kaylee was covered in blood across her upper body and pants. Kaylee dropped the knife and ordered officers to kill her. The patrol officer described the knife as a kitchen knife with a longer...
The affidavit states that a patrol officer entered the residence to find Kaylee Hehheart holding a knife to her throat. She was covered in blood. She dropped the knife and ordered officers to kill her. That single image, a mother, blood-soaked, demanding death from the people who had just arrived to save lives, is the first fracture in any clean narrative. The paperwork already knew.
Laying motionless on a bed in a bedroom directly off of the living room across from the front door. The children were covered in blood. The patrol officer noted that the blood was mainly concentrated near the neck area of all 3 children. According to police, 2 of the children, 3-year-old Morgan Hehheart and 5-month-old Ava Hehheart, succumbed to their injuries at the hospital.
Then the officer located 3 children lying motionless on a bed in a bedroom directly off the living room. They were covered in blood, concentrated near the neck area. 2 of them, 3-year-old Morgan and 5-month-old Ava, would succumb to their injuries at the hospital. A 1-year-old survived, but only after surgery. This is the kind of scene that sticks with first responders for the rest of their careers.
And survived. Police said they observed injuries on all of the children indicative of their throats being slit. A doctor also informed police that Morgan had a laceration on her wrist, which could have been a defensive wound. Now, this type of crime is unimaginable, especially one where the children...
Police observed injuries indicative of throats being slit. The 3-year-old had a laceration on her wrist, a defensive wound. A child, barely old enough to speak, tried to protect herself from her own mother. There is no way to reconcile that with the person who, according to the husband, had been cleared by CPS to be with her children.
But police also interviewed her husband, who was at the home when everything allegedly took place, and he revealed some very eye-opening details about their relationship and Hehheart's alleged mental health struggles. Quote, the husband advised throughout the past, Kaylee had made comments regarding killing herself as well as their children. He also advised that he had made plans to divorce Kaylee within the past couple of...
The husband's interview with police reveals what was happening before that night. He said that throughout the past, Kaylee had made comments about killing herself and the children. He had made plans to divorce her within the past couple of months. Those plans included a separation, and he engaged in sexual relationships with other women. Kaylee knew about those relationships. She made her threats anyway. The paperwork already knew.
Services became involved after the husband had informed mental health services of these comments. The husband also had made mention to officers that Kaylee had been committed to mental health services in the past. No date was known exactly, but estimated to be within 12 to 18 months prior to the time of the incident. The husband advised that CPS was aware of the comments, but Kaylee had been on medication and cleared to be with the
Burleigh County Social Services had been involved. The husband had informed mental health services of the comments. Kaylee had been committed to mental health services within the previous 12 to 18 months. CPS was aware of the comments, but she had been on medication and cleared to be with the children. The system had a file. The system had warnings. The system cleared her anyway.
More specifically, a Glock brand handgun. And police said that text messages between the couple lead them to believe that the purchase was made just 2 days before the murders. So the husband, to some extent, knowing about these alleged mental health issues she was having, but
2 days before the murders, Kaylee bought a Glock handgun from a store in Bismarck. Police confirmed this through text messages between the couple. The husband knew about the purchase. He also knew about the mental health issues. He was aware that his wife, who had threatened to kill herself and their children, now had a firearm. What would you do with that information? What did he do?
That during the incident, Kaylee had been threatening him with a firearm. The husband advised that he had collected video on his cell phone and he was able to show officers the videos. This included a video showing Kaylee carrying a child believed to be 5-month-old Ava with a pistol pointed at her hip, pointed to the ground. The husband told police that Kaylee then said, quote, "Say goodbye."
The husband told police he collected video on his cell phone during the incident. The footage shows Kaylee carrying 5-month-old Ava with a pistol pointed at her hip, pointed to the ground. That video exists. It was shown to officers. In that video, Kaylee says, "Say goodbye to your kids." That is not a moment of confusion. That is not a fleeting thought. That is a statement, recorded, corroborated, and now part of the case.
To your kids. The husband advised that he was able to get the firearm from Kaylee, disassemble the handgun, and throw the pieces throughout the house. He then said that Kaylee then locked him out of the house. The husband also told police that while he was wrestling Hehheart for the gun, she had scratched and bit him. And officers observed.
The husband said he was able to get the firearm from Kaylee, disassemble the handgun, and throw the pieces throughout the house. She then locked him out. While wrestling for the gun, she scratched and bit him. Officers observed those injuries, and when the gun was gone, she didn't stop. She went and sought another weapon, a kitchen knife with a longer blade. That is not someone lost in psychosis. That is someone who adapts.
During the incident, another witness. Police interviewed her as well. Quote, the grandmother told a detective that while in the residence, Kaylee had chased both her and the children's father out of the residence with a knife. The grandmother stated that this forced both of them out of the residence due to...
The grandmother, also on scene, told police that Kaylee chased both her and the children's father out of the residence with a knife. Kaylee later confirmed this in her own interview. She remembered chasing them out. She remembered having the knife in her hands when police arrived. She remembered placing the bodies of her children on the bed. But she said she didn't remember everything. The paperwork already knew.
After interviewing all of the parties involved, officers decided to charge Kaylee Hehheart with 2 counts of murder, 1 count of attempted murder, 2 counts of terrorizing with a dangerous weapon, 3 counts of aggravated assault, and a misdemeanor count of domestic violence. Now, based on the murder charges alone, Hehheart faces a...
The charges are staggering: 2 counts of murder, 1 count of attempted murder, 2 counts of terrorizing with a dangerous weapon, 3 counts of aggravated assault, and a misdemeanor count of domestic violence. On the murder charges alone, Hehheart faces a maximum sentence of life in prison without parole. She is currently being held in the Burley Morton Detention Center on a $3,000 million bond.
Video of her in court. Now, according to Hehheart's case docket, she is due back in court on October 6th for a preliminary hearing, and there is a trial date that has been scheduled to begin on February 1st, 2027. We'll see if that actually takes place on that date. Joining us now to talk.
Her next court appearance is scheduled for October 6th. A trial date has been set for February 1st, 2027. But the legal process is not just about dates. It is about what the prosecution can prove and what the defense will argue. Mental health is already being raised. The question is not whether she had struggles. The question is whether she knew what she was doing.
The husband has a video of her holding one of the children, holding a firearm in her hand, saying, "Say goodbye to your children." That can go to the knowingly and intentionally component of a murder. It can go to premeditation, that she was thinking clear enough ahead of time to know, and she was making this threat to him that she was going to kill the children. In the interview room, us detectives were asking.
Retired Detective Lisa Miller, a former chief investigator, points to the video as critical. She says that the husband's footage of Kaylee holding a child and a firearm while saying goodbye can go to the knowingly and intentionally component of a murder charge. It can go to premeditation. She was thinking clearly enough to make a threat, to record it, to continue the act even after the gun was disassembled.
Well, Chris, frankly, I've worked murder where I went to my prosecutor right after the interview and said, hey, this guy needs to be locked up. He's a danger to other people. He killed his father in the one case I'm referring to. But this man has some serious, serious mental health issues. And I don't think he truly understood that he was killing his father. We, myself and my prosecutor, got in front of this issue, and this individual is still incapacitated.
Miller also raises the issue of accountability. She has worked cases where mental health was so severe that the suspect did not truly understand they were killing someone. She has worked autopsies on children. She says she can close her eyes and remember every child autopsy she ever attended. But in this case, she notes that once the gun was taken, Kaylee went and sought another weapon. That suggests clarity of thought, not incapacity.
But she's also walking around. She purchased a gun. She's walking around with one of the children in her arms, threatening the husband, saying she's going to kill him. This is before the act. There is a little bit of clarity of thought here because once he disassembled the gun, she went and sought another weapon. So
this is where the forensic psychology hits a wall. A 22-year-old mother under pressure, with a marriage collapsing, 3 children under 4, a history of mental health commitments, and a newly purchased gun. She walked around with a child in her arms, threatening the husband before the act. Then she found a knife. Then she locked him out. Then she cut their throats. The paperwork already knew.
Well, we're going to corroborate everything outside of the players involved in this case. In this specific case, we have something that corroborates his statement about her actions, and that is a video that he took and that was on his phone that he showed police. So we have that video that shows her in whatever state she was in, so we can see firsthand her state, and we can hear firsthand her threats. Law enforcement's going to go and
Miller explains how detectives corroborate the narrative video evidence, purchase records, interviews with friends and family, work history, social media, phones, computers. Every piece builds a mosaic. In this case, the video from the husband's phone is the anchor. It shows her state, her threats, her actions. It removes the ambiguity. The question is not whether she did it. The question is whether she can be held accountable for it.
I really don't remember the faces of most of the adult autopsies that I've attended, but I can close my eyes and I can remember every child autopsy I ever attended. This sticks with these first responders. You can compartmentalize these cases while you're working them. You have to. It's a must to do the service for the children that were killed.
Some people are wired to be able to put it away and work through it. Miller says, it's the mission. For the officers who walked into that bedroom, the mission is to bring justice to 3 children, Morgan, Ava, and the 1-year-old who survived. They will never forget what they saw, and the case file, now public, asks a question that no one in that home could answer in time.
Now, I mean, she's in jail on a $3 million bond. I'm sure law enforcement doesn't have much more contact with her, but like what happens next, as this case moves forward from the law enforcement side of things?
Well, the detectives are going to do all the things that I mentioned earlier. They're going to be talking to everyone that knows her. They want to be able to try to give the prosecution as clear a picture as possible. What was the mental health of this woman actually like? It's going to be hard to get some of the medical records. There's some protections. They'll be coordinating with the prosecutor's office to see what records they can get. But there's a lot.
So here is the final question, and it is one for you to answer in the comments. The probable cause affidavit is public record. You can find it through the Burleigh County court system. In it, the husband says CPS was aware of the comments and cleared her. Read that document. Look at what the state knew and when they knew it. And then ask yourself who failed those children. That is the question that remains unanswered. That is the question that will not go away. That is what True Crime Court follows. If you found this breakdown useful, like the video, share it with someone who needs to see it, and make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. We don't just cover the story, we follow the evidence. The paperwork already knew,